Different setup than usual, but it is something different. Kind of wanted to try something new. And these guys went clearance at the dollar store, so I actually bought a couple of them. It's one of those things. I absolutely love these things. And decided this would be a fun change of pace from what we always do, which is the coloring. I do still want my light on, though. I still have to fix my chat. There we go. That's a little better. So we're not using the markers or colored pencils today. We're doing paint, which still not a sponsored stream. Would love to be sponsored, but you know, I'm not. New fun cup for us today. And there is a paintbrush somewhere. I know there was a paintbrush somewhere. There it is. These come in very handy if you're going to paint something. And it's not anything crazy or fancy. Just a fun little wood piece. I have done one before. It actually does hang here in my workshop. The one that I did in the past, I did actually a paint and marker combo, which we might do on this. I have my markers handy just in case. But I kind of want to see what happens if we do it all in paint, just for giggles, because why not? I know I am late getting on today. I usually try to do 8 o'clock. But, well, you can't always make a perfect schedule. Hello, Betrayed. This is actually a Dollar General piece. They're currently clearance. I used to buy a lot of these little wood pieces from them. But they stopped doing a lot of the patterned ones. They're kind of neat. So that is a personal favorite thing of mine. But yeah, it is just a little wood cutting from the Dollar General. I do a lot of oddball shopping there. I get a lot of my coloring books from there. I have a couple of little canvas prints that I've painted from there as well. If I'm running low on artwork, they're usually good for finding something that I can do. And they're not that expensive, which is helpful. Even before they went clearance, I think this was like $5, which hobby art at a budget is never a terrible thing. I'm a huge fan of that. And as I've said many, many times, this is not a sponsored thing. I love my Dollar General. They do not pay me to say that. They just happen to be the closest store to my house. I live out in the middle of nowhere. Closest one of them is about 5 miles away. But when you live out in the middle of nowhere, 5 miles is really not that bad. It's a lot better than the 20 miles I have to go to get to, well, I guess closer to 15 that I have to go to get to the nearest large town that has even so much as a Walmart. So, grocery shopping is super fun. Gotta go into town. But I have my country life by choice. go. She's starting to get a little color to her. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Mine was hectic. For some reason, some weekends, well, sometimes in general, people decide to just be very mean and rude to retail employees for no apparent reason. I had a lady who could not keep her hands to herself yesterday. I finally had to ask somebody else to help her because she just kept grabbing hold of me. And I have a type of anxiety that is triggered really, really badly by physical contact that I did not consent to. Hello, Ava. How you doing today? So, she pushed me into a panic attack, and I handed her off to a manager who could deal with that nonsense while I went and got myself back together. There we go. Now, my little cup of water right on the side here. I don't like to put my paint water right beside my cup. Bad things happen when you do that. Sadly, I know this from experience. I think this will be a fun one. There we go. If you ever wonder, this is one of my favorite brands. Excuse me. I'm not sponsored by them. They just make a really good product. If they wanted to sponsor me, I would not say no. Hello. Is it Kaylin or... I hope I pronounced that right. Let's see. Where do we want to put this? I'm actually having a pretty good day. It's quiet, which I'm a fan of. And I'm always happy when I don't completely destroy somebody's name. I am lucky enough to have a name that's really, really hard to mispronounce, but my last name is not. So I know the frustration on that side. I'm really curious to see, once this dries, if the color shift actually works on this kind of wood. It'd be kind of neat to see. Hello, Lori. How we doing today? I am absolutely loving your coloring book series, by the way. I haven't been able to catch you actually doing it, but your shorts on progress have been amazing, and I really do appreciate it. If you like the Coloring Lives, go follow her. She is fantastic. She actually popped up in one of mine and made me up because the name caught my attention. I am doing well. If you have a Dollar General close to you, these guys are on clearance for like a couple of dollars. If you want a different thing to play with. I'm very excited by it. I love when cool things are inexpensive. It makes me happy. And I did one of these a couple of years ago, and it actually hangs right in my workshop because I really liked the way it turned out. So now let's see if I can set my tripod back down without dropping it. One good thing about doing a small project is my small tripod can fit, and I'm not trying to wrangle my legs around my big one. That one I did a mixture of markers and, or gel pens and paint. This one, I don't know if I'll end up using my gel pens. I have them handy if I decide to, but I wanted to have a little fun with my paint and, you know, get paint on my hands because that is a thing that I do. And I actually finally caught the last kitten to get a good video on him. So over the next couple of weeks, I will be, or the next couple of days, I have actually an individual video for each and every one of my kittens. Which is actually a super fun thing to do. Welcome back. I only have the kittens for a couple more, maybe another week, week and a half. At least 2 of them, so I have to have a little fun with them. Excuse me. And if you see my cup, as I said, I collect fun and silly cups, but this one is special. This one my boyfriend got me for our first Christmas together, actually. One of our favorite things to do through the pandemic was sitting and watching streamers playing that game. I also have a hoodie from it, but it was just, I'm not a gamer by any stretch of the imagination, but I do very much enjoy watching them. So, thank you very much, Kaylin. I appreciate that. I've been having a lot of fun with my oddball color shift paints that I ordered. I ordered this on a, thinking I was getting a different brand. And it's kind of funny, I actually ended up liking this brand better than the brand I had originally been using. I am too small to be sponsored, and I'm okay with that, but I definitely do have my products that I do recommend. And if I start getting up there to be noticed by, I will happily test products, as long as they're comfortable with me giving an honest review. I will never lie for somebody and just to get paid. That's not who I am. But let's see if, I'm curious to see if you guys can see any of the color shift. It's usually hard to see while it's wet, but when they're dry, if it does what it's supposed to, and I'm not sure if it will on this type of wood, the pink kind of shifts to a gold tone. The orange doesn't tell me. But the orange should do something along this line. And the green goes back and, woo! Pardon me while I knock you guys over. And the green goes back and forth between green and yellow. So, it should be kind of neat if it does properly. It is not one of my lives if I don't do something a little bit bonkers and possibly knock my tripod over at least once. I've also done that in regular long form videos on a time or on an occasion. I'm a laugh it off and keep going kind of person. If you stress over every time something goes a little bit off the plans, you're never going to be very relaxed. You're never going to be super happy. Though every now and then you may come across something that will upset your OCD, like that. That does not fit. And before anybody comes for me for using OCD. I am documented. I have been medicated in the past. I have it mostly under control now, but every so often something bothers me. But we're going to say that's different because that's the top, and use that to justify it and make my brain happy. Because it is directly underneath the rope, so we can do that and it will work. Hello, Emily. How are we today? I am happy to see a nice active chat today. It always makes it go a little bit easier and a little bit more fun for me. Oh, I like that orange. I like that orange a lot. I am doing well. I only work weekends, so this is kind of my Saturday, my first day off of working. I'm going to knock this little section out that's underneath the camera real quick, just so we don't have to worry about it later. I've picked my camera up once and knocked it over once today, so we're going to try and leave it where it sits now. Welcome back, Kaylin. If you are that young, just make sure you have your parents' approval to be online. Not looking to get anybody into trouble today. We're not a kids channel per se, but we're not an adult channel either. I try my best to welcome people of all ages. There we go. We're making progress, slowly but surely. I very much enjoy doing silly little projects like this. And this one may end up going up in my workshop as well, or it might go up somewhere in my house. I've also been known to give stuff like this to family members. I'm going to move my coffee. I don't want to spill that. If you put coffee flavored Monster in a coffee cup, it still counts as coffee, right? Oh, that works. There we go. Pardon me if I get quiet for a second. Sometimes my brain just needs to focus on what I'm doing, so I don't put my hand in the wet paint that I just laid down for like the 14th time today. If you've ever watched any of my long forms, I always end up with a ridiculous amount of paint on my hands. It's just my luck. I have no depth perception in my defense. Well, almost none. So sometimes it gets a little tricky to realize where I'm putting my hands. There we go. I'm liking them nice and bright. And I like when I have things that I have a good excuse to do just a lot of insanely bright colors on, because I am that kind of person. Like, my workshop here has a lot of very, very bright colors in it. I keep the rest of my house pretty reasonable, but my workshop is my personal space, and it is a little unhinged just how bright some of these spots are. Like, I know I said I wasn't picking my camera up again, but yeah. My workshop's bright. In my defense, I was gifted those paints, and I had to find an excuse to use them, right? You can't just not use something that was gifted to you, can you? Let's see. Pardon me as I have a moment of debate here. Ooh. I was looking for one of these, one of my blues. They tend to run a little bit lower because I use them a lot. Blue is my favorite color by far. I lost my paper towel. I know it's around here somewhere. There we are. We don't want to mix the orange and the blue. Browns are very handy colors to have, but they don't exactly fit what we're doing today. And I think we're going to blue on these. I had a moment of debate. I don't know if you caught that or not, but I definitely had a moment of debate there. If I was going to do the big petals or the small ones. But I settled. It happens. There we go. One thing I like with the Color Shift paints as well is every last one of them is just a little bit sparkly, and that makes me happy. It's funny because I am the least girly girl you'll meet, but sparkles make me very happy. There we go. Let's make lots of nice pretty blues because we can. I use that phrase a lot. I don't know why. I guess kind of fits that it's because I can. Should always have a few times every so often where you can just do something that makes you happy, as long as it's not at someone else's expense. If it's at someone else's expense, it should not make anybody happy. I'm a big fan of being kind. There we go. I'm resisting the urge to spin my table to get two colors, but it wouldn't do you guys any good for me to do that. I guess you kind of get a change in lighting. And I am in my workshop where I do a lot of concrete and stone and heavy statues and stuff, so having the table that spins is actually a godsend. And this was another wonderful birthday present from my amazing partner. He got me this the year I started my YouTube channel, actually. I was still debating at the time if I was going to do a channel or just keep taking pictures and documenting on my Facebook page. But I did end up making my first couple of videos and they were so bad. But that's okay. Nobody's perfect right at first. And I am still far from perfect. But I have fun. And slowly, I have actually started building up my channel. These lives, and I think my kitten with it. But that's okay too. Who doesn't love kittens? I mean, seriously, who doesn't love kittens? There we go. I think. I don't think I'm going to do the crazy color stripes on these that I did last time. But we can make little rainbows. I'm all about that. There we go. And if you do say something in the chat and I don't respond right away, please don't take it personally. Sometimes it takes me a minute to see because I can't focus on the art and my phone at the same time. It's a neat skill I have not picked up yet. I'd love to. I can think of a lot of mischief I can get into with being able to see multiple places at the same time. And I think we need one more layer of this blue because I really like it. So we're going to make one. There we go. Sorry, I got kind of quiet for a minute there. I was watching a very confused wasp trying to figure out why the temperature in here is just shifting like crazy. And that is because this is a very, very sunny room. And I kicked the temperature down as far as I could before I sat down because my air conditioner is right beside me and very, very loud. So with the sun shining in here, it's warming up very quickly. And if you've ever been on my lives at all, when I'm back here, not my lives, my long forms, I almost always have at least one wasp in this room. It's just part of life back here, but they don't really bother me. And I don't really bother them, so it kind of works. I don't like when they fly low over top of me. And I really don't like when they get in my shots. But most of the time they just buzz around the ceiling and that's okay. I'm fine with that. We have hit 28 minutes. It does not feel like it's been that long. I'm just very happy I have not smudged the paint too much. Because I can tell by the feel of my pinky, I have stuck it in paint again. See? We got a couple of different shades on there. It happens. When things go wrong, you can either cry about it or laugh about it. Laughing usually feels better. Sometimes crying is the appropriate response, though. But if it's paint on your finger, crying about it would be kind of sad. Because paint washes off. At least off of your hands. I don't think I could wash it off of this already. There we go. Tomorrow I'll probably go back to the coloring books. I just wanted something a little bit different today. Because, you know, it's good to change it up once in a while. It's always a healthy thing to add interest to your day and do something a little bit different, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. It can be a very, very healthy way to do things. I think I want a bright pink because why not? And I happen to have a bright pink. This one's not a color shift, but it's still a very pretty color. This is another one that I saw a good deal on it. Just decided to give them a try. And they also make a very nice quality paint. So, I like a nice bright. I'm definitely a fan. And of course, I'll have to add some yellow because if you've been following along at all, yellow... Whoa, there goes my hand. Now, I do have minor nerve damage in my hand, which is why sometimes it does that. It does just let go of things. It's part of life. With the surgery that they had to do to fix the problems in my arm, I could have lost all use in the arm. Instead, I sometimes throw things. I'll take it. Some use is better than none. And most of the time, she works pretty well. She just decides that the hand doesn't want to hold things occasionally, that's all. And especially on things like, you know, we've been at this for almost 32 minutes. For holding a small paintbrush, that's a pretty decent amount of time. So that was just my hand lodging a complaint. My back is also lodging a complaint. I really do need to get around to fixing my chair. But we're going to finish this thing. We're not far now. It won't take us long. And I think since I painted it anyway, we're going to use this pink on that outline part. There we go. And if you're just popping in, this was a clearance pickup from the Dollar General. I'm very, very happy about it. I'm very excited to have nice, neat art to do for little money. That always makes me happy. And that's something I've seen a lot of people do that I will never understand and definitely don't recommend, is if you're looking to make content, don't spend money on products than you're going to actually make from the content. Though for me, that's kind of a impossible goal because I am not monetized. So I am not making any money off of this. I may someday. But right now, it's just a really fun hobby. Great way to unwind. Get to touch base with a few people and chit-chat, and I'm a fan. I didn't know how I would take to doing the occasional live. I really did not plan on getting to the point where I try to actually get on at in a certain time window a couple days a week. But stuff happens. And I realize that I actually do enjoy it. I've tried on a few other platforms. I didn't enjoy it on those, so this is the only platform that I go live on. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to play with different things for your own state of mind. And I don't think I am going to color the outside. I think, oops, let me just bump you guys again. You know what? I don't want to do that. I want it to be yellow, if if it's yellow with one little pink spot, so be it. There we go. And I think we're going to do yellow flash, which once again, kind of a neat thing, goes kind of a yellow to a gold. But it's a nice bubbly sunny yellow, and I love that. So I have a place where I want it. And like I said, if it's a yellow with a pink spot, so be it. There are worse things in the world. I think those two colors mesh a lot better than most people realize. But it's just a nice, fun, bright color. And it brings me joy. So that is the way I try to do things. Especially where my channel is concerned. If it doesn't bring me joy, I don't tend to do it very much. There we go. I am going to be starting on a new project. Well, not a new project, but turning one project into two after I decided I did not like the way the two pieces looked together. But I have to turn a large planter over and empty it and clean it. And I just did not feel like doing that today. So I do that part later today, and then hopefully tomorrow start actually painting the thing. But my lighthouse desperately needs something to sit on. And I am keeping an eye out. I want a big concrete bird bath to put it on. But for now, it's going on a broken pier that's going to be painted like an island. Hold that steady so that it'll stop clicking every time I touch it. There we go. And this is getting to be one of my longer, and I'm okay with that. We're almost done with it. Just a few more spots that need color. And with stuff like this, you don't have to color every single spot. You don't have to paint every single spot if you're doing it with paints. It's okay to let the natural tone of the wood show through occasionally. I'm not against it. There's a few spots that I don't want to leave the natural shade showing through, but there's a few spots I might. I haven't decided yet. But that, I wanted that nice, pretty bright yellow. There we go. Pardon me as I just whack into the table. And she needs more blue. And I think, let me just make sure they're not too similar, because that would be kind of silly. Let's do a lighter blue. There we go. Oops, that was a little more than I meant to put down. And this, I think, is going to go here. There we go. Yeah, I like that there. Kind of be out of luck if I didn't like it there. It's already down, but you know. It's a pretty shade. And if you're wondering, the paints that I'm using today are available on Amazon. It's where I got them. I think I don't want to do those blue. What else do I want to do? We'll do this part. You might hear voices in the background. That happens. I live with other people. And we don't really do the don't talk, I'm live thing. That's just not very nice, in my opinion. Okay. Well, that just brightened that spot up, didn't it? I think. Another case of because we can. Just add some nice pops of color here. I definitely like I'm glad that I chose the lighter of the blues instead of the darker. I think it just adds a little bit. There we go. I am really liking the way this is turning out. But I think we need green. Let's see. Shiny green is always a good thing. And this kind of shines back and forth between a green and a blue, which is always fun. Ooh. I was excited to come out there. I think this might be the last color I add. I'm not 100% certain. Don't quote me on that. But it might be. Excuse me. All right. It's getting harder and harder not putting my hand in paint. But my hand's been in paint off and on the whole time, so I mean, what's one more color added to it, right? Did I? I did. Oopsie. Dipped in the blue instead of the green. It happens. Not crazy hard to fix. Nothing I'm going to stress over, that's for sure. There we go. And I'd love to hear, especially once I get this actually posted as a regular on my timeline or on my feed, whatever you want to call it. I'd love to know if you enjoyed this video and if you would like to see one more of these little flower deals done. Not sure if it actually qualifies as a mandala, but I do have one more. They were clearanced out. I bought what they had left. I have a tendency to do things like that. But if you guys enjoyed this and you want to kind of do one, see one done a little bit differently, maybe we'll do it with the markers, or we can do another one painted. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Or if you'd rather I stick with the coloring books for the lives, I can be down for that as well. I do have something special coming in for the Coloring Lives, and it's Wednesday. Unless it comes really early, I probably won't be able to post it until Thursday. But I think it'll be really fun, especially for the time of year. So that's something I'm looking forward to, that you can now look forward to. And I think this is definitely going to be my last color. It's starting to get a little toasty in here. And we've run to 45 minutes. And my hand is getting a little aggravated with me. Because unlike my coloring where I switch what I'm holding periodically, I've been holding the same brush the same way for the 45 minutes now. And my hand's getting a little bit mad. But I try to commit to something and finish it in my lives. I don't like leaving something unfinished. I did two, where I started something on one and finished it on another, and I just felt like I left people hanging. Though, to be fair, in that particular one, I was interrupted by the phone, had to stop and come back to it. But still, not something I enjoy doing. So, there we go. And I am intentionally leaving those the color of the wood because I kind of like it that way. And I want every one of these to be just a little different. So that is that completed. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And I will talk to you next time.